Forbidden Door has been opened to what I think is the best pay-per-view all year. I don't know about you, Tomas, but I think this is my favorite AEW show of the year. When you put New Japan into the mix, at least do some fun wrestling.
Is a very fair statement to make, because I will say this is probably the most fun I've had watching a wrestling show all year. Of course, we are talking about the big, huge crossover event. The multiverse is real, ladies and gentlemen, and it is everywhere. We have All Elite Wrestling joining up with New Japan Pro Wrestling to bring you the Forbidden Door in Chicago, Illinois, here in the States. And I am looking very forward to talking about the show, because this was very fun.
Those fuckers in Chicago are getting way too spoiled, because they got Hell in a Cell at the beginning of the month, and now they're getting Forbidden Door here.
At the United Center, that holds almost 17,000 people. Wow, AEW is just breaking records. They're breaking records all over the place.
Yeah, can they do a pay-per-view on the West Coast next?
That'd be nice.
Pretty please.
That'd be very nice.
They never will, but
But the two biggest issues people had going into this pay-per-view, one is an issue I agree with. There was another one that I really don't care for, and I feel like it's a tad bit xenophobic. Let's get into that point first. A lot of people said that this isn't going to be a good pay-per-view because nobody knows who these people are, and it's not going to attract the casual fan. Let me get this out of the way.
Not true.
Nah, who gives a fuck about the casual fan when it comes to this show? This is not for the casual fan. Blood and Guts is for the casual fan. Double or Nothing was for the casual fan. This is for us.
For the hardcores that are just
was for us.
Yeah, no, we were spoiled with great wrestling up and down the card. 9 matches to go through. I did not get a chance to watch the pre-show because, as most of you know, I am currently doing a show right now, and it's currently up and running. But Tomas did get a chance to watch the pre-show, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Like, Keith Lee is on this pre-show, but not on the main show. What is Tony Khan doing?
Another point I want to bring up. I'm not even a hardcore New Japan follower. I watch Wrestle Kingdom every year, and that's it. But even if you love wrestling, then you're gonna love this show. You don't need to know everybody from top to bottom. I didn't know half the people on this card. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people on the pre-show I didn't know. Jericho teaming up with I'm sorry, not Jericho, but the Eddie Kingston and Wheeler Yuta teaming with Shota. With Shota, I didn't know who that was going in.
The shooter.
Yeah, this was all just really, really fun stuff, and there was a lot of good, fun stuff that I've never seen before. We opened up the pre-show with Bishamon, which is Haruki Goto and Yoshihashi versus Aaron Solo and QT Marshall representing the Factory. This was a fun little match to open up with. There wasn't really anything special here, but I think Solo and Marshall were really good at being the welcoming wagon, saying, "Welcome to AEW, motherfuckers. This is how we do." And Bishamon gave them receipts right back. There was, a constant theme going out through the show is the AEW guys are really good with their ground stuff. New Japan is stiff as fuck. They have that Japan strong style for a reason. And we're going to see that all over the place. I'm not going to go hold for hold with these matches because I don't remember. I was kicking back. I was enjoying the show. I feel like a lot of people were too. This was really fun. Bishamon did pick up the victory over Solo and Marshall to kind of set the tone for tonight. And, this wasn't like a WWE Survivor Series. We're not keeping track. This isn't for like brand supremacy. This is just a hodgepodge of just awesome wrestling.
It's a hodgepodge of dream matches, basically, is what it is. It's just Tony Khan and the New Japan promoter basically spoiling us with dream matches, one after the other.
I will say there's another theme going on here with this pay-per-view. A lot of these matches went a lot longer than I expected, like this one. This match almost got 9 minutes. I feel like they could have got away with half of that time. But it's not really a nitpick, it was noticeable throughout the show.
By the way, put on record that Tomas said that QT Marshall was good at something on the podcast here.
I realized last night that he's a lot easier to stomach when he's not on Dynamite every single week.
Yep, see you on Dark Elevation, but
next up, we have a match that I think was thrown on the pre-show last second, even though we already had 3 pre-show matches. It's Lance Archer representing New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Nick Comoroto of the Factory. Poor Factory. These guys were literally just sent out there to job to the New Japan guys, and that's exactly what this match was. Let's recall the Double or Nothing pod from last year. where I said Nick Comoroto is a good-looking guy, and I wish AEW would do some with him. It still remains here. Comoroto looked really good in this match, and I think he made Archer look good, which, as you all know, I'm not that big a Lance Archer fan. This was a fun little house fight. They only got 6 minutes and 10 seconds, but Archer did some dives, which, again, big man, very scary to see him do, and he ends it off with the blackout. Easy match. You could even say this match didn't need to be on the card, but, you know, harmless.
Nah, probably not. Probably not. I mean, yeah, Lance Archer, I mean, he hasn't been on AEW programming in a while. He's, like Tomas said, he's representing New Japan on this show, which is interesting that you say that. Lance Archer, former, no, he never won the TNT championship. What am I thinking?
No, he challenged for the TNT, and he challenged for he's a former 2-time, I think, IWGP United States champion.
That's what I was thinking of. That's what I was thinking of. I think he beat Mox in a Texas death match. I know we talked that one.
The only time the IWGP US title changed hands in the States.
Yeah. Ironic, wouldn't you say?
Interesting tidbit to bring up. Next up, as Zack alluded to earlier, we have Swerve in Our Glory, which is Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland taking on Suzuki Gun.
This is ridiculous. Keith Lee and Swerve on the pre-show?
Yeah, El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I'm going to apologize right now. I'm going to butcher a lot of these names. But I think a lot of people in the wrestling world who aren't too... Again, this is why we had Kevin Kelly on the show. That's another point I wanted to bring up. Let's get that out of the way now before we get into Keith Lee.
It was Excalibur, Taz representing AEW, and Kevin Kelly representing New Japan, which I thought was a great touch. It was great.
Voice.
It was great to see Hermie again. Great to see Hermie.
I don't know if I want to get my thought. I think I'm going to talk about the commentary as we go on through the show because I have some thoughts about it. This match was very good. I mean, it's Keith Lee, it's Swerve Strickland, it's Suzuki Gun. I don't remember too much from it, but I just remember as much as I don't like the randomness that is Swerve in Our Glory, Lee and Strickland have very good chemistry to the point where I wouldn't mind seeing tag team titles around these guys' waists in the future.
Please.
But I want them to be featured a little more prominently before I can have them be taken seriously as top contenders for the Young Bucks. Because, mind you, the Young Bucks technically aren't supposed to be champions right now. And if they aren't supposed to be champions, they need to be the definition of transitional champions. And I think a team like Swerve in Our Glory could be a perfect team for the Bucks to hand those titles off to.
Yeah, they absolutely could. If Tony Khan decided to put them on the main show instead and get them more exposure. But I guess not. Keith Lee is a bona fide main eventer, man. You have him in your hands.
And he looked really good in this match. Swerve Strickland and Lee end up winning the match with a combination of the house call into the Big Bang Catastrophe. Love that move. Glad Lee's able to use it again here in AEW. Swerve in Our Glory pick up the win, and that finally AEW is able to get on the board. I wasn't keeping track, but it was good to notice that AEW was able to get their first victory over New Japan in this match. One more pre-show to go, and I wanted to talk about this one. We have Max Caster and the Gun Club. I mean, the
Ass Boys. Excuse you, the Ass Boys.
Let me just get this out of the way now. The Acclaimed have gotten the Gun Club over more than they ever could on their own. Right. Like, this is a match made in heaven for some reason.
It's so crazy. As
we all know, Anthony Bowens is on the injured list right now, but he is still on TV every week getting wheeled out. I just love this dynamic so much. Bowens is still out there doing his thing. So they're taking on the New Japan LA Dojo, which is Yumura, Alex Coughlin, the DKC, and Kevin Knight. Basically, these are the Young Lions. If you don't know what the LA Dojo is, this is basically the U.S. training grounds for a lot of the American New Japan wrestlers. If you're not familiar with these terms, in Japan, they have the Young Lions, which are basically their rookies, and they call them Young Boys. These are the guys like TJP goes into a great interview with Chris Jericho where he says, if you're a young boy, you're carrying the stars' bags. You're getting them food from catering. You're basically, you're assisting the big stars, and you're paying your dues. You know, you're on your hands and knees. You're scrubbing the floors of the dojo. You're cleaning the ring. You're basically paying your dues, and this is This is basically what the LA dojo is. I'm not too familiar with them. I feel like there's some New Japan strong guys that do wrestle here in US on the show, which is a damn shame we didn't get JR Kratos and we did not get Fred Drozer on this show.
No JR Kratos, which is, yeah, it's crazy because I saw him at a PWR indie show last November. Like, you know, it would have been great to see him on the big stage here. But
exactly, he works New Japan Strong a lot. That's a little background for you guys. But back to the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys. Max Caster has dubbed Billy Gunn and his boys the Ass Boys, and they come out with an excellent rap. I don't know it word for word, but they basically said they were gonna put LA Dojo on the injured list, and I'm like, God damn, Max Caster, too soon.
Too fucking relax, Max. You know,
very extensive
injured
list.
CM Punk, Bryan Danielson. I mean, Tomohiro Ishii. Yeah, too many people that are hurt right now.
We will be talking about that a lot in the show, but they make a fun little a little nod to that. But another thing I really like is that even though Anthony Bowens is injured, he still has a gimmick that is getting over huge. And he asks all the Ass Boys to scissor him. And they all scissor him at once. And it is hilarious. It's fun to point out here that since Bowens is injured, the one Billy Gunn has taken his place on this team.
Yep.
The one
of course
Billy
he
Gunn
has.
And his boys, Austin and Colton, make their way to the ring. All of a sudden, we get Danhausen appearing on the screen, which Danhausen is currently feuding with Max Caster and the Ass Boys. He basically plays a little song for the Ass Boys to distract them, and then it's Gunn and Billy and Caster versus all of LA Dojo. And when I there, I thought, okay, this is going to be a squash. The LA Dojo is going to clean up these guys real quick. If there's one thing I like about the LA Dojo, they were stiff, they were fast. Basically, a lot of that Young Lion stuff that, you know, I've seen from New Japan, which is really cool. My only issue with this match is I do think the wrong team went over. They were down 2 members, and Caster and the one Billy Gunn were still able to pick up the win.
They still won. They still won. Talk about a random tag team. Max Caster and the one Billy Gunn. Never in a million years would I thought I'd hear that sentence. But if Danhausen is feuding with the Ass Boys, does that mean that we're gonna get Hook against Max Caster soon?
I would absolutely love that.
Max Caster rapping about Hook and his dad, like he'd be just asking to get his ass kicked, like Samoa Joe. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, certainly sounds like a very eventful pre-show.
Yeah, they crammed a lot of matches into 1 hour, but all of these were fun little bite-sized matches. I will say this was enough. If you haven't ordered the pay-per-view at this point, well, why haven't you? You know, this is like the biggest show of the year, and it was definitely worth the $50.
100%. 100%.
All right, and here we go into the big main card. And what are we starting out with?
Yeah, Jericho, Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki against Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. Shota Umino was a young lion, as Tomas was referring to just moments ago, that Jericho actually beat up back in his old Alpha days in 2018. That's a throwback. Put him in the walls of Jericho. Shota Umino is now full-on, full-throttle babyface here. If you didn't know who Shota Umino was going in, you certainly knew his name by the end of this match, because this guy really showed up. He really impressed me. I don't know about you, Tomas, but this was one of the better matches on this show. It was an excellent opener. Very, very fun.
This was a very fun match for several reasons. I was watching this show with a friend last night, and the first thing I brought up to him is, I like how Jericho has finally accepted he needs to be in a lot of these multi-man matches, because he himself knows that he is slowing down. And Jericho has done a very good job of not overexposing himself over the years. So him surrounding himself with a lot of talent definitely, you know, leans into his favor. And Jericho still looks good in this match. One of my favorite interactions with this match, obviously, was the show off between Eddie Kingston.
Yes, I was just about to mention that. Yeah, Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki spot each other, and they're like, "Let's fucking go!" And they start chopping each other and chopping each other. And I'm like, "Fuck, dude, that sounds nasty." I would not want to be on either end of that.
It brought me back to Kenta Kobashi versus Samoa Joe from Ring of Honor 2002 with those fucking chops.
Oh,
My friend, who I can't take credit for this is all him, brought up a really good point. He said somebody forgot to tell Eddie Kingston that pro wrestling is fake. Because
yeah. Yeah.
Kingston has a fucking chip on his shoulder. He hates everybody. He hates Jericho. He hates CM Punk. He hates Bryan Danielson. He hates another certain person that we're going to be talking about on this show. And
We
I
sure
know
will.
you're wondering what's a shoot and what's a work, and he just says somebody forgot to tell Eddie that wrestling is not real, and you don't have to hate the people that you're feuding with for real.
Right.
On Twitter every single day, you will see Kingston say, "Hey CM Punk, go fuck yourself."
Right.
But
Yep. Adds a whole new dimension when you look at their Full Gear match in a new light from last year.
Eddie and Suzuki are beating the absolute fuck out of each other. And
Yeah.
I'm loving every second of it.
Wheeler Yuta is suplexing the crap out of Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, who gets the obligatory "fuck you, Sammy" chants.
I will say, here's the thing: Kingston and Suzuki brought the stiffness. Jericho and Shota really brought the technical aspect, and Yuta and Guevara, they brought the high-flying action because they were hitting springboard cutters and moonsaults and spiral taps and a beautiful sequence from Guevara hitting a cutter into Yuta hitting a splash. It was just
so good.
really good because you had fun technical aspects, and then you had fun stiff parts, and then you had just Yuta and Guevara flying around the ring on each other.
How about Sammy hitting a shooting star press to the outside on a bunch of the baby faces? That was so cool.
Say that. They had a fun little spot where everybody was diving outside. Suzuki is hyping up the crowd. He says he's going to go do a dive. He goes to the ropes and he says, "Go fuck yourself. I am not doing a
dive." To the same crowd that was singing his theme song just like 10 minutes prior to that. What Suzuki, a dick.
What a bastard.
What a dick. But yeah, this was the right choice to open the show, clearly, with how much Tomas and I are smiling, reminiscing about it. But the finish, actually, Sammy, I mean, again, Spanish flies everywhere. The Spanish god hitting Spanish flies. Shota Umino gets a big fiery comeback on all the baby faces. And this is the point where if you didn't know who Shota Umino was going into this match, you were certainly going to know his name going out of it. And I think Shota Umino has such a bright future with New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's a name to watch out for. That is certainly a name to watch out for over these next 5 years, especially. He's going to be putting on 5-star clinics at Wrestle Kingdom pretty soon.
Yeah, the only surprising thing was the finish of this match, which had a little, had little heels doing a little bit of foolery. Floyd the Bat does get involved, and Jericho is able to clock Shota Umino into that. And okay, there was also before the finish where Shota finally got his revenge on Jericho, put him in the walls of Jericho.
Stolen finisher.
Suzuki and Guevara are just punching the shit out of Umino, and he is not letting go of this hold. And I thought that was a really cool sight to see.
No selling the super kick. That'll be a common theme on this show, you'll notice, which is interesting. You say that. But Jericho, there's a Gotch-style pile driver, by the way, by Suzuki on Kingston, which looked nasty in and of itself. Then Jericho finally hits the Judas effect on the young lad, Shota Umino, and that's a pinfall victory. 19 minutes of very fun 4-star wrestling, in my opinion.
And also, those of you who are keeping track at home, now the Jericho Appreciation Society gets the one-man advantage at Blood and Guts.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, Blood and Guts on Wednesday. Today's Monday at the time of recording, so that was a nice little added layer they put in last minute.
Also, Jericho, what a bastard. You brought in Minoru Suzuki to do your damn dirty work for you for a match that he's not even going to be in on Wednesday.
Minoru Suzuki is not involved in Blood and Guts. I was just about to ask, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
He
right?
hired Suzuki.
He's a mercenary. He's a hired gun. Suzuki gun.
Just like he said, he paid off Zack Sabre Jr.
He sure did.
Cripple the other team of Blood and Guts, the Blackpool Combat Club. More on that later.
Oh, the Blackpool Combat Club, the best faction in wrestling, you mean?
Hell yes.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I love me William Regal's faction there. But, okay, up next.
Believe it or not, a match that I was a little skeptical about. It's a triple threat tag team match, winner take all for not only the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, but the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles.
Mm-hmm.
It's FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood defending against Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, representing United Empire and the IWGP Tag Team Champions, and Roppongi Vice, which is Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta.
Okay.
If you are not familiar with Roppongi Vice, that is Trent Beretta's tag team over in New Japan.
With Rocky Romero. Can I say a couple things? First of all, dumbass wrestling moment on my end, because I finally figured out what IWGP stands for. International Wrestling Grand Prix. Come on now, Zach. You know,
it's
that's
okay.
stupid.
I'm glad that Excalibur explained that a couple weeks ago too, because not a lot of people know.
Yeah, and International Wrestling Grand Prix. So
IWGP is basically the association that, you know, holds the prestige of all these titles for New Japan. That's why they're not called the New Japan Tag Team titles. It's all under the IWGP umbrella.
And I'm sure Tomas was also very happy to see his homie Jeff Cobb on this show.
It was really cool, yes, because I remember watching Cobb and Great O'Khan at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year, teaming with Will Ospreay. Yes, they represent United Empire. They are basically Will Ospreay's goons. It is so fucking cool to see Jeff Cobb back on AEW television. And let me tell you, this match was absolutely fucking amazing.
Oh, it was so good. And who freaking knew that FTR would be such over baby faces? Like, my word, these guys are amazing at being good guys.
So nice to see. You got Wheeler and Harwood, who are stiff as hell, and probably the best tag team in wrestling right now.
They are.
An interesting combination of Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, which I didn't realize I needed in my life until I saw it here. And you have the extremely fun tag team that is Roppongi Vice. I'm going to make a bold statement right now. I prefer Roppongi Vice over the Best Friends.
Ooh, that's a hot take there. I know everybody loves the Best Friends.
I have been following Roppongi Vice ever since Trent Beretta left WWE all the way back in 2011.
Wow.
This is a fun tag team. I love these guys so much. Early on in the match, Cash Wheeler is taken out with an unexpected injury, and we're just like, oh no.
No, it was Dax. It was Dax.
Harwood? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he goes out with a what looked to be a separated shoulder. Cash Wheeler had to work this match by himself for a while. And this is honestly, again, my nitpick about this match. You know what it is already. It's a triple threat match, so why are these idiots tagging in and out? It should just be tornado style. But I will give FTR credit where it's due. Cash Wheeler really played into that psychology brilliantly, because he was working the match pretty much all on his own against the United Empire, and he's desperate for a tag, but the only people he can tag are also opponents, Roppongi Vice. And, like, Excalibur made sure to mention that. Cash Wheeler had no choice but to tag his opponents. His partner's gone. And I'm like, holy shit, he's right. He's right. Yeah, it's great psychology there. I love that.
It's an excellent point of psychology that they don't bring up a lot, because that is, an added layer to triple threat tag teams that you have to tag. Sometimes you have to tag your opponents. But no, this was so fun to watch. Jeff Cobb is a big, hefty hossboy, and he is just tossing everybody around like they're sacks of potatoes. He is the suplex king. Nobody can convince me otherwise. He knows some of the best fucking
there it is.
Between belly of bellies and German exploders, and oh my god, he is absolutely amazing.
Where was he on Team Taz?
Yeah, where was he in the Inner Circle?
Sorry to yell, but, like, come on. If he's the new human suplex machine, it's too obvious. Put Jeff Cobb in that stable. But yeah. I guess not. But yeah, so all five of these guys, for the most part, are wrestling their hearts out. Cash Wheeler is a resilient babyface. And then finally, the crowd starts cheering about something. It's Dax Harwood. His shoulder's all taped up. He's going to finish this match, damn it, because he wants that 7th star. He wants that 7th title with his partner. So it's awesome. It was so awesome. And the finish of this match was even better.
Yeah.
The crowd was so into this.
I want to point out that Roppongi had a really nice comeback at the end. Trent Beretta is the dude buster of DDTs for a reason. He is throwing around DDTs like it's no one's business. He is such an underrated wrestler, and I have said that ever since his days in WWE, all the way back to 2010. From WWE to Ring of Honor to New Japan, now to AEW.
So good.
Trent Beretta is a star. Trent
Yeah,
Beretta is a star.
absolutely underrated. But you know, one problem I had with this match, Tomas. One other thing aside from the tagging, I think you know what it is. Rocky Romero rolls up Dax Harwood while he's making his comeback. The referee counts 1, stops his count 1, 2, and the crowd heard 3. The crowd heard 3. What the hell was that?
That was all over the place. I feel like that's something refs do kind of on the regular. Like they'll trip up and they'll restart the count, even though that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the crowd started chanting "You fucked up" at Paul Turner, and like, yeah, well deserved. Well deserved. The crowd
alert, that's not the only time the referees are gonna fuck up on this show.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's another thing this show was missing. Some New Japan refs.
Referees are the unsung heroes of a pro wrestling match because they're controlling the pace. But tonight, I don't know what happened. There were a couple of times where the referees were just off, including this. Most notably in this match with the false 3 count for Rocky Romero. But of course, then FTR comes back together. They hit the Shatter Machine on Rocky Romero. I know it's called the Big Rig. The Shatter Machine is a cooler name, and you can't.
Big Rig is still a better name than Goodnight Express.
Yes.
You can give it that.
Yes. Oh, I agree.
So I will
100%.
gladly call it Big Rig over the fucking Goodnight Express.
Goodnight Express. Oh, what a lame name. But yeah, big pop for the title change as FTR becomes the new IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. It's a great moment, and they're holding all the gold. The AAA tag titles, the Ring of Honor tag titles, IWGP tag titles. I mean, the AEW tag titles have to be next, right? They have to win those back from the Bucks.
Zach. Have you name another team that has won the NXT tag team titles, the Raw tag team titles, the SmackDown tag team titles, the AEW tag team titles, the IWGP heavyweight tag team titles, the Ring of Honor tag team championships, and the AAA tag team titles?
I can't say I can name one.
Can't. Because ever since day one, FTR has ruled the tag team wrestling world. I cannot think of another team more dominant since the Dudley Boys. And the Dudley Boys only have the ECW tag team titles, the WCW tag team titles, the IWGP junior tag team titles, and the Impact tag team titles. Which you got to think, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Tony Khan sent FTR over to Impact to take those tag team titles away from the Good Brothers. Because at this point... at
this point, FTR... I can argue that FTR is more dominant than the Dudley Boys ever were, which is a bold statement. And FTR's matches are considerably and consistently better than the Dudley Boys matches were back in the day. I would know. Tomas would know too, because we're talking a lot about the Dudley Boys matches through the Ruthless Aggression era. But, I mean, yeah, this was a great triple threat tag team title match. I'm rating it 4 1/4. It's getting knocked a few points because of the weird psychology about there being no disqualification and still tagging in and out. And also the botched 3 count for Rocky Romero. But this is still a really strong match, one of the strongest matches on the show. I can't be happier for FTR. It's such a cool achievement.
This just opens up so many more possibilities for FTR. You know, at some point they're gonna hop on a plane, go to Japan, and defend those tag team titles against Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb in a 2-on-2 traditional match. They're gonna be all over the place. I can't wait. The only bad part about having so many titles on FTR at once is that eventually they are gonna have to start dropping them all. But I'm not kidding. You either have them beat the Bucks for the AEW tags, or you send them to Impact to get those tag team titles.
Well, it's the same. It's the same deal with Kenny Omega a year ago when he was winning all those world championships, the Impact World Title. I think he won the AAA World Title. Yeah. So Kenny Omega was holding all the gold there too. So it's the same sort of situation.
It's a shame, and it's times like this that make you think, if WWE would just take the stick out of their ass, we could see FTR versus the Usos for all the fucking gold in the world. Because the Usos have both tag team titles right now. FTR
they do.
Feels like they have every other tag team title in the world right now, except WWE's and except for Impact's.
FTR is ruling the wrestling world, guys. Despite the contrary, what they want you to believe with the Usos, it's all FTR right now.
If I were the Usos, I'd be shaking in my boots right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, in any case, up next, let me just look at my notes real quick. So we have, the triple threat tag team match. Oh, then we have the 4-way for the All-Atlantic Championship, the inaugural All-Atlantic Championship, which is kind of a strange name if you think about it, because it has the Japanese flag on there, which is not an Atlantic country. But in any regard, you have Malakai Black, you have Pac, you have Miro, and you have Clark Connors, who is replacing Tomohiro Ishii, who is unfortunately injured. This was a very good Fatal 4-way.
Before we get into that, let's get that elephant on. Let's address the elephant in the room. This show was plagued with injuries. A lot of matches had to be changed. A lot of, as we'll get into the next match, a lot of modifications, a lot of you're in, you're out, you're going to be on the side, you're not in the match anymore, you're going to be in their corner. Mystery opponents and interim championships. And, here's the thing. This show was at like 75% strength, and it was still an incredible card. Could you imagine a show at 100% power? Crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's insane to think about. I can't wait for All Out in full gear later on, but yeah, I thought this was a good match. I thought Clark Connors definitely showed up to play as the replacement here, taking some sick bumps from Miro. I
really like how Connors really played into the role of, here's the thing, everybody and their mothers this week, they were counting Connors out. There was not a single person on the planet that said, Clark Connors is going to win this match. Here to take the pin. He's literally just a last-minute replacement because, the real person going to be in there. And he played that role very well with taking all the punishment, but coming back and having the best comeback out of anybody else in that match.
Which is interesting because Pac is also in there. The bastard Pac. He's a babyface. The babyface bastard. Miro and Malakai Black are teaming up on the bastard. They're teaming up on Clark Connors. But then they eventually get to fighting, and it's really freaking good. I don't remember if they ever, touched at all in WWE. They might have briefly, but I don't think they ever did, in a big stage like this.
If they did, I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, it might have been, in multi-man matches for, the tag titles, but...
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. They never, teamed up, and then they never, got to scuffling, but that's my imitation of what they did. Scuffling.
Yeah.
There you go. But it's a lot more physical than I'm making it out to be.
So we make our way to the outside of the ring. Miro is setting up a table, and then Tony Schiavone is having a heart attack. Apparently, there's a kid right behind the table, and Schiavone is freaking out. He's saying, "Get that kid away from there right now." I mean, it was a little dramatic, but at the same time, I understand. Where is security to clear everybody out from there? If that kid would have got hit, AEW would have had to deal with
lawsuits out the ass. Yep. You and I thought the same thing. But yeah, I believe it was Miro who went through the table. Clark Connors hit him with a spear. He makes a big fiery comeback. There's a nice Tower of Doom spot. But then here's the getting towards the finish of the match. Miro, because he's Miro, he's a big Incredible Hulk style character. He goes back in there, and he just is whipping all kinds of ass, and then he puts the game over on Pac, and Pac is in that hold for so freaking long. Pac is crawling to the ropes, which is kind of scary in and of itself, that Pac is that strong, that he can carry Miro on his back, of all people, towards the ropes.
This is when I got pleasantly surprised, because I would have bet all of my money that was the end of the match right there.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, though. And I thought it was, even better. I believe it was also, Malakai. Oh, no, this is what happened. Malakai Black breaks up the submission by spraying the black mist in Miro's eyes. Does that mean that Miro becomes the newest member of the House of Black?
And that's when I was thinking, that is brilliant booking by AEW. Miro is such a fearsome beast that black mist is the only way you're going to get him out of this equation.
Yeah, and Miro did not eat the pinfall either, which is, again, good booking. Malakai Black had a arm bar on Clark Connors, and then Pac goes up to the top rope, hits a big, gigantic black arrow, hits another one on Clark Connors, and gets the 3 count. Deservedly so.
Oh, no, he did not get the pin. He locked in the brutalizer on the
Connors. Oh, no, you're right. You're right. Fuck, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, he locked in the brutalizer / the Rings of Saturn, whatever you want to call it, and Clark Connors taps out immediately. Yeah, thank you. That's why Tomas is here also to correct me if I'm wrong. But
gotcha.
Yeah, so
that's why we got each other.
We got each other, exactly. So let me just also say that I was so happy to see Pac be the winner of this, because he was one of the original signees for AEW, and he's never really had like that much of a chance to shine with a title. I feel
like, yeah, every time they try to get something going with Pac, every time he tried to get momentum, pandemic, injury, stuck in his country, something always came up. Remember, the pandemic happened literally 1 week after the Death Triangle was formally put together.
Yeah,
so we never got the proper takeoff of that faction. He never really got a chance to win a world title or the TNT title because he was out for almost a year with injury, or he was stuck in his country because of travel bans. Like, I feel like Pac finally got his dues tonight. And Pac,
he sure did.
Here's the thing. Everybody talks about their Kenny Omegas, their Hangman Pages, their CM Punks, their Bryan Danielsons. You know who my favorite wrestlers in AEW are?
Pac and the Death Triangle.
Pac and Orange Cassidy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the Lucha Bros are my favorite tag team.
The 2 guys that were in that 3-way with Kenny Omega that we loved so much at Double or Nothing.
So I marked out when Pac won.
Yep. There you
I feel
go.
like this is the first major due that Pac has gotten since he won the Cruiserweight title in WWE. So it's been way overdue.
Yeah, and that is a beautiful All-Atlantic Championship belt, too. Very colorful. And Pac is hoisting it up in the air. The crowd is chanting, "You deserve it," obligatory so. But, I mean, again, it's accurate here because it's Pac, and he's paid his dues to get here. So, I can't wait to see what he does with this belt. Maybe he has some bangers of matches with a certain someone that we'll talk about later. Maybe Zack Sabre Jr. crosses the pond again and challenges for this title, but I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here. Yeah. But up next, another trios.
Very.
How do you describe this match?
A match. I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this match. We have, for one night only, the Bullet Club reforms as Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, the AEW Tag Team Champions, team with El Phantasmo to take on the Dudes with Attitude. Zach, do you remember who the Dudes with Attitude were?
Absolutely not. I was not alive for the Dudes with Attitudes, but it was Sting, Luger,
Junkyard Dog.
The Steiners were also a part of that faction. So Bronson Steiner would also be a dude with attitude if you were in AEW. But
so who are the dudes with attitude in AEW? It's Sting, it's Darby Allin, and it's Shingo Takagi.
It makes absolutely no sense.
No sense.
It makes no sense. I mean, it would be better if they actually went with Tony Schiavone's pun name that he gave the team, Los Stingobernables de Japón. Come on.
Made a lot more sense.
Yeah, come on. Los Stingobernables. The opportunity was right there. It was right there.
This was unfortunately another match that was plagued with not injury, but with sickness. Who were Sting and Allin also going to team up with? They
were going to team with Takagi's tag team partner from Ingobernables, and he was out with an illness. But
Hikuleo was also going to be in the Bullet Club. Unfortunately, he got demoted to Ringside Bitch.
He got promoted to Heater at Ringside that Darby Allin beat up at the beginning after one of the most amazing Sting entrances I've ever seen. You can take away Sting flying down with the harness and all that nonsense in WCW. This Sting entrance was awesome. So the dudes with attitudes all make their entrance first. Sting's music is playing, and Tony Schiavone is marking out like he usually does. And yeah, so I'm waiting on Sting to come out. No Sting. And then the Young Bucks music hits. They come out with Phantasmo, with Hikuleo like normal, and I'm like, well, where the heck is Sting? The lights go out. Up in the rafters, there is a Sting double pointing at the Bullet Club, and then the lights go out again.
That was Sting.
It was not Sting, because what happened was the lights came back up. The Bucks are like looking up at the rafters, and then perfect direction behind them. You can see the spotlight on the stage, and Sting's silhouette is on top of the tunnel. And this fucking 63-year-old man in face paint jumps off the tunnel on top of the entire Bullet Club. Like, you'll never see anything like this anywhere else.
About Sting teleporting from the rafters to the top of the stage.
Don't let this match make you forget that Sting can teleport.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Me and my friend, I'm going to be honest, we're dogging on Sting before this match, saying, why is Sting still doing this? And then that happens.
Why not?
I turn to my friend, and I'm in tears, and I go, Sting heard us and said, go fuck yourself. I'm going to jump off the tunnel.
He's going to jump off the tunnel, and it's just going to be massive fun chaos. This wasn't the opening trios match, but this was still extremely fun. It wasn't going to be as well worked as the opening match was, obviously.
Has anyone checked on Jim Cornette yet? Is he doing okay? Because I don't give a fuck. I hope he's not doing okay at all.
Well, Sting is just, he's just a 63-year-old man on a tunnel, and he's jumping off like it's just a bad idea.
Because let me tell you,
it's a shitty idea.
Some of the silly ass shit that went on in this match. You had Phantasmo doing some weird shit, some cartwheels, and then going up and raking Darby Allin's back. You then had Matt Jackson come into the ring and do, I'm not kidding, 6 backflips in a row. And he ran up to Allin and gave him a back rake.
What a son of a bitch. What a son of a bitch.
Phantasmo tried to twist Sting's nipples.
You know what this was? This was a PWG 10-man tag team match that you would see at Bola, except with 4 less people.
Yeah, with AEW and New Japan guys.
Yep. And Sting, of all people.
Was downright silly, but in the best way.
It was so much fun. The Bucks
and the Bucks, who are 3 of the best wrestlers on the planet, who said, "Go fuck yourself. We're gonna do titty twisters and back rakes."
And we're just gonna ignore that this is the first time the Young Bucks have ever wrestled Darby Allin in a match.
Yes.
Which is just insane to me that they've never touched once in AEW at any point. It's just so wild to me.
Now that you said that, I'm just like, can we get Sting over to a PWG show just so we can work one match?
Right? Sting gets it. Sting, the amazing thing about Sting right now is he just gets the joke of pro wrestling right now. Just case in point, look at his interaction with Orange Cassidy last year at Fyter Fest. That was one of my favorite things ever.
Is a multiple-time WCW World Champion. He is a former United States champion. He's a former million-time Impact World Heavyweight Champion. He's a Hall of Famer. He has nothing left to prove. If Sting wants to twist titties and have a ridiculous face-off with Orange Cassidy, he has every goddamn right to.
What a fucking sentence right there. If Sting wants to twist titties, then fucking titties.
With Orange Cassidy, then he has every fucking right to.
Yeah, but Sting avoids a BTE trigger. Sting is hit with super kicks from the Bucks, and Sting is selling it. And then he's just like, he gets hit with a super kick, and then he just is like staggering over, doing the Sting thing, and I'm like, this is awesome.
And then he double clotheslines the Bucks, and then he collapses. Like, I had to get that out before, because those super kicks actually hurt.
And then Phantasmo, excuse me, Sting hits a double Scorpion Death Drop on the Bucks while Phantasmo is in the ring celebrating, and he's jaw-jacking with the crowd. And he thinks the ring belongs to the Bullet Club, but little does he know Sting is behind him, and he walks right into a fucking titty twister. It was the fucking revenge and a half.
Hear that in my life.
You know,
Takagi did end up getting the pin in this match, which I was very happy to see.
Yes, great selling by Phantasmo throughout this entire back portion of the match. He does get hit with a coffin drop as well. But yeah, Shingo Takagi is the one to get the pinfall after the Last of the Dragon. This was 13 minutes of fun nonsense. I mean, technically, this is a 3.5-star match, but I mean, this is like 2 thumbs up from me. It was so like, good.
Okay, here's the thing. Sting is a legend. He has nothing left to prove. The Bucks and Phantasmo are 3 of the best wrestlers in the world, and they've shown everybody that they can wrestle. Why not?
Yeah.
For one night, let's just have fucking fun.
Let's just have fucking fun. Yeah, this is AEW and times NJPW Forbidden Door. You're supposed to have fun. Yeah. But up next, AEW Women's World Championship is on the line between 2 AEW representatives. New Japan does not have a women's division, so I guess Tony Khan wanted to represent them on the show in some way. So Thunder Rosa.
I heard that Stardom had a pay-per-view this night too. So
yeah,
nobody from Stardom
that was
able to come over and represent Japan.
Yeah, fair enough. But Thunder Rosa is now defending against the number 1 contender, Toni Storm, who I'm sure you all are aware I am a huge fan of Toni Storm. So I was very happy to see her here. Yeah, Toni Storm. But anyway, I could talk about her for a long time, but I need to calm down.
I'll just link
Thunder Rosa
page and let them make their own decisions.
Yep. No, yikes.
We don't judge here on the ZNT Wrestling Show.
No, never. We would never judge. But let's just say also, can I just mention Toni Storm is like another Becky Lynch. I feel like she has the potential to reach the Becky Lynch level of superstardom. If like yeah, which is insane.
This was an excellent showing for her.
I thought it was. I wanted the match to be better though.
Me too. I still like this a lot more than the match with Serena Deeb.
Really? Yeah. I thought
this was fun.
Okay, yeah. No, I thought the near falls were better in this match overall, but I would put this about on equal quality on an equal quality rating. The match of Double or Nothing.
Say if this was at All Out and not at Forbidden Door, Toni Storm would have taken the title tonight.
I would have loved to have seen that. And I would have loved to have seen the rematch.
It's still a little too soon for Thunder Rosa to be dropping this title.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Thunder Rosa's defenses haven't really been as remarkable as I would have wanted.
They've been a little lackluster.
We still haven't gotten the Britt Baker rematch that I'm sure everybody is clamoring for. And I'm sure that'll be the best match in her entire reign. I mean, she's defended against like Nyla Rose, Marina Shafir, Serena Deeb at Double or Nothing, and kind of a, it was a good match, but not a lot of people like look back on it like with as fond memories as the Lights Out match. But it was fine. I enjoyed it. Thunder Rosa was hitting a bunch of Dustin Rhodes maneuvers. That was the big thing I'm noticing. Fire Thunder drivers, of course, and Thunder Rosa basically pins her with the final reckoning. 11 minutes. Nothing really much to write home about. I would have loved to have seen Toni Storm take the gold home, but tonight was not meant to be, unfortunately.
This was a solid 3-star match, and not in a bad way. I think this was better than some women's matches we've gone AEW. If anything, this was decent but harmless. Nothing bad. I don't think there was a bad match on this show. Even looking back, as much as I'm not going to lie, I was kind of a Jim Cornette the first time watching the 6-man tag. But after talking about it here, I'm like, no, that was fun. That was really fun.
Oh,
you want to talk about fun? You want to talk about good?
Please, let's talk about fun. Oh, my God. I've been waiting so long to talk about this match with you.
It's Orange Cassidy challenging for the IWGP United States Championship against the one, the only, the the Commonwealth Kingpin, the leader of the United Empire, Will fucking Ospreay.
Will Ospreay is the fucking man. Like, I said it here first. I haven't really watched a whole bunch of Will Ospreay matches, admittedly. I was first exposed to Will Ospreay in his series with Ricochet back in 2016, which has since gotten a cult following on the internet. And it's just amazing stuff to watch. And when I saw that Orange Cassidy was going to be the one facing Will Ospreay, I'm sure Ospreay was salivating at the thought of working with Orange Cassidy, because this gimmick is so over with the crowd. And like, this is going to be a much different Will Ospreay match than we're all used to. And number two, you're still going to get so much athleticism. And these counters are among the best I've ever seen. This was match of the night for me.
Let's go into a little backstory, a little background about Will Ospreay if you don't know who he is. Will Ospreay is one of the most athletically gifted professional wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. He was a lot like Ricochet when we first started watching him, but then this man proved that he has depths. He has layers. He turned heel. He dropped the aerial assassin gimmick and became the Commonwealth Kingpin. He's the leader of the United Empire in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he is just one of those people on his Titantron that brags about all of his accomplishments. Being one of the first IWGP heavyweight champions, winner of G1 climaxes and all of that good stuff. And he comes down here with his cronies, Aussie Open, which are an excellent tag team.
He sure does, doesn't he?
Is here not just to prove that he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, that he is one of the biggest pieces of shit on planet Earth. I was so fucking hyped for this match. Here's another thing that everybody may not know. This was originally going to be Will Ospreay versus Andrade. But Andrade, AAA, and CML, they have an ongoing beef that involves New Japan. And Andrade and the Lucha Brothers were forbidden. See what I did there? From participating.
Get out of here, you idiot.
But here's the thing. I didn't want to see Ospreay and Andrade.
This was, yes, this is a better match than Ospreay could have ever gotten out of Andrade. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the Andrade fans out there. I mean, he's had great matches in the past with the right opponents, but I really don't think, I'm sure a match with Ospreay would have been great, but it would not have been as good as this match. There's no way. There's no way in hell.
Cassidy immediately starts the match by putting his hands in his pockets.
And Will Ospreay is baffled. He has to be.
Offended. Ospreay says it is disrespectful for Cassidy to put his hands in his pockets while he is wrestling the Commonwealth Kingpin. And you show him some fucking respect right now.
Yes.
You have the most beautiful opening sequence of wrestling I've ever seen in my life. They are flipping all over the place. And if you guys don't know something about Ospreay, he loves to do this thing where he'll do all of this, do a handspring off the ropes, and do the most badass superhero pose you have ever seen in your life. He does that. And then immediately Orange Cassidy does the most laziest rendition of that Superman pose.
What are you talking about? That was the most intense superhero landing I've ever seen in my life. He made the ring canvas ripple when he landed there.
And he even had time to give Ospreay a thumbs up. This match was absolutely everything and anything I possibly could have dreamt of.
It was
a professional wrestling match.
It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, there's some beautiful counter wrestling once things start to get serious. Orange Cassidy hits the Stun Dog Millionaire. There's orange punches thrown in there. Beautiful Michinoku drivers. I mean, and Orange Cassidy, my favorite spot of this match, he grabs Will Ospreay by the hair, and he hits probably the most devastating Kamada kicks you will ever see. The crowd was reacting to him like, oh my god, Will Ospreay has to have a concussion there. And Will Ospreay
Ospreay's head didn't pop off of his shoulders.
Being
Those were absolutely devastating.
Being the unprofessional piece of shit that he is, Will Ospreay did not sell Orange Cassidy's lethal kicks to the head.
Asshole. At one point, Ospreay has Cassidy in an abdominal stretch, and he decides to put his hand in Cassidy's pocket, and he pulls out a fuck you. It was great.
What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit he is, huh?
Cassidy takes out Aussie Open with a springboard spiral tap, which was, I'd never fucking see Cassidy do that before in my life.
He just continues to amaze you, doesn't he?
Cassidy and Ospreay are battling on the top rope, and Cassidy smashes Ospreay's head into the camera, and that was a beautiful view.
It was so deadly. Absolutely deadly.
They continue to battle, and Ospreay thinks he has Cassidy off, and Cassidy jumps off the top rope. He tells the crowd to quiet down, and he falls on the mat and he slams down to make Ospreay think that he has fallen back first onto the mat. And Ospreay is the only one that could take this serious wrestling match and turn it into a cartoon, because he looks behind himself and he goes, "Yeah, I got him." And I'm just like,
he's so good.
Bitch. He goes for a moonsault. Cassidy rolls out of the way. Ospreay lands on his feet and goes for another moonsault. He lands on his feet and then does a running shooting star press.
Oh, that's where I lost my shit at that point. I love this match so much. I was so sad when Will Ospreay hit Orange Cassidy with the Stormbreaker to retain at 17 minutes.
But before he did that, he hit Cassidy. Well, no, Cassidy hit a beach break, and that was 2 and 9 and 9 3/4 .9999 of a close. I leapt out of my seat because I thought Cassidy was going to win.
Ospreay is the master. Ospreay and Roman Reigns are the two masters of kicking out right before 3. Like,
Ospreay,
so good.
It's the hidden blade, and Cassidy kicks out. And I don't think people realize what a big fucking deal that is. My friend brought up a good point. That Orange Cassidy did not hit one orange punch this entire match.
He did not.
Protecting the orange punch.
Yeah, protect the orange punch, yeah, because it's lethal, like those Kamada kicks that you saw earlier.
As much as I wanted to see Cassidy win, I also told my friend, speaking of Roman Reigns, Will Ospreay is New Japan's Roman Reigns when it comes to booking-wise. So there was no way Ospreay is going to drop this championship. As you said, Ospreay hits the Stormbreaker. This match is 5 fucking stars.
It is. It is. See? No, Tomas texted me like last night after he finished the match, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Cassidy and Ospreay was 4 3/4 stars," and then I finished the match, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? How can you not give that match 5 stars?"
I think the reason why it was shy of perfect for me is because it didn't have the drama and the tension from the Triple Threat World Title match that I love so much. But after looking back on it, and I'm totally gonna watch this match again.
Same.
Ospreay and Cassidy just pulled out all the stops, and they constructed, in my opinion, a perfect wrestling match.
Yeah.
And I'm even going to take it a step further. This is so far my match of the year.
Wow. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Best U.S. title match you'll ever see this year, that's for sure. Not Theory and Bobby Lashley. They ain't got nothing on this.
Oh, this was
ain't got
excellent.
Nothing. It was so good. Absolutely. Like if there's one match, hold up. If there's one match that you need to watch from this show, it's this one. I will take that to my grave. It was so awesome.
Was worth the $50 on its own.
Yeah.
This was excellent.
Sure was. But yeah, like Tomas said, we're not done. Aussie Open, because they're dicks. They go in there, beat the crap out of Orange Cassidy. Roppongi Vice comes back out to even the odds. More members of the United Empire come in. But who comes out to freaking even the odds after that but Katsuyori Shibata? And the crowd reacted to Shibata like he was a big deal. He basically goes in there, beats the crap out of the United Empire, scares them off, and then you get the stare down. Him and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy puts the shades on Shibata. It was great.
If you don't know who Shibata is, he is a legendary wrestler in Japan. But if you don't have a weak stomach and you have not eaten in the past hour, look up a headbutt that put him out of action for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is the most disgusting noise I have ever heard in my life, and I don't ever want to see it again. I watched it once, and I can't ever bring myself to watching that video again.
Never.
Fucking ban headbutts, please.
Yeah, please, especially those of the diving variety. But up next is one of the most hyped things for me on the show, at least. We have Zack Sabre Jr. facing off against a mystery opponent, which was supposed to be Bryan Danielson in a technical wrestling masterpiece. But unfortunately, Bryan Danielson was injured going into the show, not cleared to compete. So he said that there was one guy in the world that he trusted more than anybody to take out Zack Sabre Jr. in a technical wrestling match. And he said that that one guy is the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Well, Zack Sabre Jr. makes his entrance. He's in the ring. And the crowd immediately all stands up. They point their phones at the entranceway. And the music hits. Humongous ovation for Claudio Castagnoli, the former Cesaro from WWE. This is a main eventer right here. Claudio Castagnoli got a huge fucking ovation from the crowd, and it made me so happy. It made me so happy.
Did you have the fucking gall to say 6 years ago that the fans don't connect with Claudio? Somebody shoved this video in his face and showed him the pop.
No, somebody shoved the video in his face when he goes to jail in like 3 months, but like
you said, had the fucking gall to say that this guy isn't over.
He is. Proven point. You know, and like he's so well liked by everybody in the business, and his people, the WWE people, were like tweeting pictures of him, and they were like, he deserves this. He deserves this moment.
I just want to say also, I fucking love his theme song.
It's such a bop, isn't it?
It's fucking beautiful.
This beautiful man comes down to the ring, poses with the cameraman at ringside, who everybody thought was him. Such a dork. Such a dork. That's why we love Cesaro. That's why we love Claudio. You know,
he was probably thinking, I'm going to wrestle this match, and then I'm going to go backstage. I'm going to text my buddy Austin Creed, and we're going to play some fucking Uno.
Hey, Creed. What color do you want?
Love it.
Yeah, and tell some dad jokes while you're at it.
It's deafening in the arena. You forget that Zack Sabre Jr. can be such a fucking piece of shit.
He was. He was such a good heel.
This match starts up, and immediately Claudio Castagnoli nails Zack Sabre Jr. with a rocket uppercut. He picks him up. He hits him with the Gotch neutralizer. And Sabre Jr. kicks out at 2 3/4. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, here we go.
The match was on.
ZSJ rolls out to the ring, and he needs to catch his breath because he just got hit by a fucking Swiss train.
He got hit by the Swiss Cyborg is what he got hit by. The King of Swing, the Swiss Superman. Whatever nickname you want to give him now. I'm going to call him Main Event Claudio at this time because that's what he is. That's what he deserves.
He's a fucking star.
Yeah. Put the AEW World title on that guy. Really stick it to him. Really stick it to Vince. You know? Because Claudio...
I gathered from when Cesaro left the WWE, it sounded like it does not take a lot to keep this man happy. And WWE wasn't willing to do that for him. Their loss.
Yeah. Their loss is Tony Khan's gain.
Over a year ago, he was in the main event of Backlash challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Underappreciated. Here he is, and he's appreciated now. That's all I could ask for.
Yeah. And this was a great match. I wanted it to be a fantastic match, but I'm going to say this was just a great match because I feel like these two weren't really like the best matchup for one another. Zack Sabre Jr. I feel like works a lot better when like you have multiple matches with a certain someone.
Or with Danielson. Obviously, Sabre Jr. was selected for this match to wrestle Danielson. Mm-hmm. I think they still put on a fantastic match otherwise. And then, like I said, Sabre Jr. is such a prick. Once he finally is able to weather the storm that is Claudio Castagnoli, he takes him down. He looks at the crowd and he goes, I'm like, you bastard.
What a piece of shit. Thankfully, Cesaro, I have to get used to saying that. Sorry, it's Claudio. It's Claudio. I've been used to saying Cesaro for so long, but he is uppercutting the crap out of him. And that's another thing. Cesaro, I feel like, works a lot better with opponents like Seth Rollins, like a Pac. Could you imagine like a Claudio and Pac match at this stage? My word, that would be freaking 5 stars.
Zack Sabre Jr. is a submission machine. He works better with the guy like a Danielson. And this match was thrown together last second. But even though I still think these guys put on an excellent match, my biggest nitpick, believe it or not, that Zack Sabre Jr.'s, most of his submissions were in the ropes. And it kind of took away the drama.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, you can't keep the submissions on the ropes too long because you're going to get disqualified. And Zack Sabre Jr. was really testing the referee. Like
He
even to
really
the
was,
point
wasn't he?
where the commentators were saying Sabre Jr. is doing all these submissions because he knows the referee's not going to throw the match out. So he is really manipulating and he's really taking advantage of the referee in this match.
He really is. He really is, because he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. That's what you got to do. But Claudio is hitting all these uppercuts everywhere. Claudio is there's a great transition. Sabre Jr. has the heel hook submission there. Claudio counters it into a sharpshooter, one of the most beautiful sharpshooters in the business now, might I add. And Claudio is hitting double foot stomps, and I'm really trying hard not to call him Cesaro right now because I'm still getting used to it. It's a new transition here, but this is something that needed to happen.
The one thing that this man is over for, he's teasing it. He's trying to set up for the Claudio swing.
Yep.
The first time, ZSJ doesn't let him. The second time, his arm is actually too hurt, and he only gets 5 rotations in. We will get the satisfaction, but more on that later.
Claudio hits a Ricola bomb for he hits a discus lariat for his late friend Brody Lee, just to pay tribute to him, which was awesome. And then he hits the Ricola bomb for the 3 count. That was 18 and a half minutes there that they went. And it was really good wrestling. I'm going to give it 4 1/4, 4 1/2, perhaps. I'll go ahead.
I'm going with 4 1/2. This was excellent, and this match is going to go down in history. It was no Ospreay and Cassidy, though.
No, it wasn't. But this was like, I hate to compare it to the WrestleMania match that Seth Rollins had with Cody Rhodes, but like the reveal of Claudio was something that the fans were guessing going in, and this was a case of AEW going the predictable route, and they're showcasing a brand new main eventer. The crowd knew exactly who Claudio was, and they reacted in kind. And this may be a bold prediction, but after this whole undisputed AEW World Championship business concludes, Claudio is going to be the one to take the title from CM Punk.
I would absolutely fucking love that.
I would love that. Like, he has to be the guy. Like, no disrespect to Danielson, no disrespect to Moxley. Like, any of those members of the Blackpool Combat Club would be great. Which, by the way, a faction with Mox, Danielson, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta together with William Regal as their mouthpiece, that's the best faction in wrestling currently. Nobody can touch that.
Point out, this is a little off topic, but I just love that Zack Sabre Jr. has only made 1 appearance in WWE, and that was the Cruiserweight Classic. Did not sign, never to be seen again. I would love if this was Zack Sabre Jr.'s only appearance in AEW.
You think so?
Make it memorable. For now, at least.
For now, yeah. But I feel like they're still going to build up to the Zack Sabre Jr. Bryan Danielson technical showdown.
I want that to be in Japan, though. I want Danielson to go to Japan.
You think Tony Khan would let that match happen in Japan and not on his show?
You know, I don't see why not.
I mean, we'll see.
Left WWE because they wouldn't let him work in Japan. Tony Khan's obviously letting Danielson do that.
Yep, so, that's true.
You know, and it's funny, right? When this match started, I turned to my friend and I said, remember when Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. both made the smartest decisions of their life and chose not to sign with WWE?
Yep. They were smart men there. But
this was excellent. Here we go.
4 excellent wrestlers. Speaking of.
Yep, a fatal 4-way for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. It's the newly crowned champion, Jay White, with Ghetto in his corner. My friend brought up a really good point and said, this is like if Vince McMahon came to the ring with Roman Reigns.
Oh boy. Yeah, White, wouldn't you hate to see that? Would you hate to see that?
White defends his title against the Adams, Hangman Page, and Adam Cole, baby. And the Rainmaker himself, Kazuchika Okada.
Kazuchika! As the ring announcer said.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally butchered that. But that's a really good point where I bring up. The ring announcer for New Japan was announcing these last 2 matches. and I love him so much.
No, he was announcing throughout the whole show. You had the Dapper Yapper do his normal thing, and then the Japanese ring announcer would chime in as well. And Jim Ross was like, Jim Ross said, signature, 2 Dapper Yappers.
And Taz just went, but no, the reason why I want to say is here because these last 2 matches, the last 2 matches were when the announcer was doing his signature thing. Because in the other matches, he was just speaking in Japanese and not really saying anything. But what I love about this ring announcer is that Justin Roberts would say, first up, Adam Cole. And then the ring announcer would come in and say, his Japanese sentence. And then, Adam Cole! Hangman Adam Page! Switchblade Jay White! Okada! Love it.
It was so great.
One of the main reasons why I watch New Japan.
Okada was very over in Chicago. Everybody knew exactly who this guy was. Came off like a freaking superstar. And honestly, even though Okada was like a last-minute addition to this show, it felt like, to get more star power on the show, I totally understand it. But I mean, this guy was awesome. This guy was awesome.
The build-up to this match was pretty sloppy because White had just won the title at Dominion against Okada. Adam Cole is working this match hurt. And by the end of this, I'm going to say this right now, you could have done this match without him.
Yep, because he walked out with a pretty big concussion, if rumors are to be believed. I would rather
have seen White versus Page in a one-on-one match. Or if you wanted to include Okada. And here's the thing. They didn't know Okada was going to be here because Okada was injured too. And he just barely made the fucking cut to be on the show. The build was sloppy. A lot of people say that the match was sloppy, but I disagree.
I thought the match was really good. I mean, it was really... I mean, if you have 4 very, very skilled wrestlers in there going in for a world heavyweight title match, it's probably going to be really, really solid. Jay White and Adam Cole were doing the, we're doing the whole like Bullet Club reunion sort of thing, and they were teaming up. It was almost like a 2-on-2 match. It was very, very strange psychology for a little bit. Okada and the Hangman mixed it up a little bit. No, don't get me wrong. But
there were a lot of people that were surprised that the IWGP Heavyweight Championship was even being defended. Like there were a lot of people assuming that Okada and Hangman Page were going to team up against White and Cole.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been a lot more unpredictable, seeing as how Jay White just won the title a couple weeks ago. But it was still really, really solid, technically speaking. Adam Cole does betray Jay White around the halfway point of the match with a backstabber, as Excalibur so aptly pointed out, was quite apropos. And everybody was just mixing it up. You had a quadruple down. You had everybody hitting their signature moves. There was a buckshot lariat in there, of course.
Hangman Adam Page goes for a moonsault, and Adam Cole nails him with the super kick. I will admit, my friend is kind of an Adam Cole hater, and he hits that move, and my friend goes, hey, remember when he did that to Ricochet, and it was actually cool? And then he started doing it every single fucking match. And I'm like, someone doesn't like Adam Cole.
How can you be an Adam Cole hater? Like, that's what I'm wondering. How can you hate this man?
There are a lot of people that do not like Adam Cole.
I know he's a fucking prick on screen, but like he's like one of the nicest guys like in the locker room. And he's one of the best wrestlers I feel like in the entire world. It's Adam Cole, baby. He's great.
Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, son. What?
You ever get him on Broken Skull sessions? Anywho.
Do a Stone Cold impression. You gotta hit triangle, square, circle.
Christ.
This podcast has gone off the rails, clearly.
The money clip, and we're just joking saying, yes, that's how this match is gonna end. The money clip.
Yeah, that's how this match is gonna end. A single rainmaker.
That's probably the biggest disappointment of this match. We did not see the Rainmaker.
No, it was like I was waiting.
I know it's the most protected finisher in New Japan, but that didn't mean that needed to be the finish Like, that could have
No.
just knocked someone out of the ring.
Yeah, Okada hitting some beautiful drop kicks. He hits okay, so Okada and Adam Cole are mixing it up, and this is where the match kind of gets really strange. Adam Cole super kicks the Hangman off the apron. Okada hits a sit out power slam on Adam Cole, and then this is very, very awkward. Jay White hits Okada with the switchblade. Then he goes over and pins Adam Cole for the 3 count. And it doesn't really look like, it's so abrupt. I don't know if the finish was changed because Adam Cole looked like he was in a bad way when Jay White was pinning him. But
yeah, I want to bring that up because that's the first thing I brought up. White hits the Blade Runner, and I'm like, why are you not going to pin Okada? You just hit him with your finisher, which is also very protected. But I feel like if Cole was hurt. But it's a fatal fucking 4-way match. He can roll out of the ring and just not participate. I know Hangman Adam Page just lost the title, but I think all things considered, if you need to call an audible, let Cole sit out the rest of the match. Have him get attended to. Page will gladly take the pin.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very fine line that we're treading here because I totally get where you're coming from. You got to protect the Hangman after he just lost to CM Punk and all, but it's I don't know.
Also, JR went out of his way to point out how awkward the ending was. The match ended, White's holding up the title, and JR says, well, that was very underwhelming. That was so underwhelming. I don't even think Cole was prepared for it. And I'm just like,
you gotta call it out on your own product. Come on, man.
You could have just said, whoa, I don't think Cole looks so good. And he did not look good to the point where the entire Undisputed Elite came out to check on him. So, not gonna lie, was a little concerned. By the way, the whole Undisputed Elite is injured now.
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish once again is injured. Now Adam Cole is out. I'm actually gonna look up what he's actually hurt with while you we continue to talk about this, rather. Adam Cole.
I still enjoyed this match. I think I enjoyed this match a lot better than other people did. I'm willing to give it 3 3/4 stars.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything wrong with the match. It was just plagued with a bad finish. And again, if Adam Cole was hurt going into this match, I don't think he needed to be part of the show.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
I absolutely agree. I think this is 3 3/4 stars easily. I mean, again, when you have 4 skilled wrestlers like the Hangman, Okada, the Switchblade, and Adam Cole all in there at once, and a world heavyweight title is on the line, you're probably going to get something pretty good there. And I'm just looking at it right now. It looks like Adam Cole likely suffered a concussion in this match. Hopefully he gets better soon.
Yeah. Also, it was an awkward finish because, you have fucking Ghetto out there ringside, and there's no way in fucking hell is he ever gonna let AEW pin Okada. We're lucky that Okada got pinned for the world title by Jay White. There was no way in hell that he was gonna let Okada get pinned in an AEW ring.
Yeah.
No.
But in any case, speaking of world championships, Jon Moxley versus the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi to crown an AEW world champion while CM Punk is on the shelf. This is a match that is approximately 3-4 years in the making since Mox first requested his release from World Wrestling Entertainment. One of the first opponents he wanted to fight overseas in New Japan was the Ace, and it never panned out. Tony Khan wanted this match on one of his shows, and I certainly don't blame him because this was a very, very physical main event.
This was a real-life Moxley just never got his chance at Tanahashi. Every single time they wanted to do this match, it was either a natural disaster or a global pandemic or injuries or something was always in the way of this match happening. And even here, this match was not supposed to happen.
It was supposed to be Punk versus Tanahashi. Yeah.
So the first thing I want to point out is that, first of all, I love the build. This build, you couldn't have written a better build than this.
It ruled. It really ruled.
So someone pointed out, and I cannot unthank this now, Hiroshi Tanahashi is New Japan's John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Tanahashi is making his way to the ring. He has a big smile on his face. He is over as hell. And this proves that statement here. Tanahashi goes to the ring aisle, and he seeks out the one Japanese fan sitting there. And he slaps her hand, and he continues making his way to the ring.
Such a nice guy.
Such
So
a great
down
guy.
to earth.
Yes.
Yeah. Mox, of course, is accompanied to the ring by William Regal. They make their way to the ring through the crowd, as Mox usually does.
And he is the fucking Death Rider tonight, which was awesome.
Yeah. But holy shit, these guys beat the hell out of each other. Like, this was a world title match that felt like a world title fight more so than anything. It felt like Mox was wrestling this with a chip on his shoulder. Like, he wanted to get to Tanahashi so badly. And he wasn't even supposed to be the one wrestling Tanahashi on this show. But Mox was out of this world in this match. He blades off of a sling blade. How the hell do you do that?
Mox found a way. Unfortunately, that this match is flawed by one thing and one thing only.
What's that?
Moxley and Tanahashi are having this excellent match. Some fucking asshole in the crowd decided to cause a ruckus.
Yep.
All the fans turned their attention over to him. They're chanting, "You fucked up" at him. Apparently, Moxley caught on to this very soon and immediately put Tanahashi in a rest hold, saying, "I'm not going to let this prick ruin this dream match for me." I saw the footage from Twitter, and it was some asshole that got into a fight. As security is dragging him off, he tries to fight security. So that did not end well for him. What an asshole. He tried to ruin this main event, but you know what? He didn't.
He did not. He did not. I would have been chanting, "Watch the match," if I were there in the crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a really, really physical match. Mox put Tanahashi through the table with a nice Uranagi slam on the outside, the timekeeper table. And there was a really nice little sense of psychology in here. Mox goes into the ring, and he is willing to take a count-out victory over Tanahashi. For some odd reason, he's willing to take a count-out here. Tanahashi realizes that the United States rules are a 10 count and not a 20 count like New Japan. So he realizes this, count of 9, and immediately he springs back into the ring. If it were WWE, Tanahashi would be chilling out there, and he would think, "Oh, I got in at 13," and it would have been a dusty finish. So this was very, very smart of them to put this together. But yeah, very, very physical. Tanahashi gets his licks in. Mox hits a paradigm shift, hits another paradigm shift, pins him, 1, 2, 3. Moxley is your first ever 2-time AEW World Champion.
Get that interim shit out of here.
Yeah.
I do not like that word. I hate that concept.
This isn't
UFC. The title
UFC.
to Punk, yeah, if he drops the title to Punk, which I fully expect him to, that's totally fine. I don't care. Moxley is still the current AEW World Champion right now.
He is.
I couldn't be happier for him.
There's 2 AEW World Champions right now. Him and CM Punk on the shelf. And then they're going to have a match probably, depending on how long Punk takes to recover, either at All Out or at Full Gear. I'm expecting September for Punk for broken foot and all that. But, I mean, it was really good. Really good main event. 4 stars. I'll give it that. But here's the thing that really, really bugs me. Mox and Tanahashi just had this incredible dream match. It was very physical. Mox just became the first ever 2-time AEW World Champion. And the fucking Jericho Appreciation Society comes out to beat the snot out of him. And then the Blackpool Combat Club evens the odds. Yes, you do get the cool spot with Claudio swinging one of the 2.0 dweebs around like 20 times. Because he's Claudio.
35, actually.
35. Holy shit.
On night 1 of him being AEW, he shattered his WWE record.
Which was freaking awesome.
A year ago against Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he swung him 30 times at WrestleMania.
I think he got him 22, and then he added fucking 13 more rotations to this poor guy.
That guy is inhumane. Inhumane, man.
I feel like this was AEW saying, we have to plug blood and guts. You don't need to plug blood and guts.
You don't. You just got to focus on what just happened. Mox just became your champion.
It should have ended with Tanahashi shaking his hand, raising his hand, and fade to black.
Yeah. Just focus on blood and guts later.
Is somebody else going to debut tonight? Because if not, this is what you do on Dynamite. You don't do this on a pay-per-view.
No.
Especially as one as historic as this.
But I mean, as weird as that ending was, still a really solid main event to cap off one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year, if I'm being honest.
Give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
This is excellent.
9.25 for me.
This is excellent.
I think, yeah, from start to finish, I mean, there's not one bad match on this card. I mean, you can say that the women's match was slightly above average, but everything else was either really fun, like the Sting match. You had a really excellent opening tag team match. You had a really physical main event. Some really good four-way action in here. And a candidate for match of the year between Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy. So it's really, really solid.
Believe that AEW and New Japan managed to keep this show at 4 hours?
And that's another thing. Shows like Revolution and Double or Nothing went on way too long. Which I get it. You want to try and give the fans their money's worth by putting as much talent on the show as you can. But
I was not tired watching this pay-per-view.
No, it flew by. It was a delight. It was so fun.
Great.
Yeah.
It was great.
I can't wait for the annual Forbidden Door. I can't wait for this to be a yearly thing.
If Forbidden Door was so great, then where's Forbidden Door 2? Well, we're going to get it, guys. Don't worry.
We should. We absolutely should. But folks, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that notification bell as well if you want to stay up to date for everything pro wrestling here on the ZNT Wrestling Show. Of course, this channel is also centered around film discussion. I'm going to be starting a Lord of the Rings review series pretty soon here. Busy summer going on. Thor: Love and Thunder. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. But
Money in the Bank next
Money
weekend.
in the Bank is this weekend on Saturday in the MGM Grand Garden Arena, which is typically an AEW venue. That should be pretty weird.
I know we just had Forbidden Door, but I think we're in for a fun show with Money in the Bank.
Hopefully it's a good show. Well, hopefully the right people win the contracts this year.
And then everybody, again, hang tight with me. After Money in the Bank, I'm going to be pretty busy, but I will be here for SummerSlam, and we're going to be in a different environment come SummerSlam.
We sure are.
We are looking forward to it.
It's the end of an era. It's the end of an era here for Tomas, at least. But, folks, stay tuned. Commence that back talk. See you next time.